Hi, everybody. Welcome. Here we are again. It's another Sunday. They go fast, don't they? So we are trying a new experiment, and we hope it will be wonderful. We know it will be eventually, but this is our first day to try some new software that allows the practitioner and Amber to come in and perform while we're having the service. So we welcome you. We're glad you're here. And I'm going to turn this over to Amber to inspire us with some music.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, this is fun. Experimenting is always fun, and it stretches us, of course. So hey, let's wake up this morning with a little bit about not worrying about a thing, shall we? Woke up this morning, smile with the rising sun. Three little birds sitting by my doorstep, singing sweet songs, melodies pure and true, singing, this is my message to you. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Alright, let's swing open our hearts, swing open my heart. Give thanks for the day. Gonna let love fill me up, get right back to the start. This is how I was made, free from the worry and free from the fear. I know spirit is peace, loving kindness in me right now, right here. Singing, don't worry. Are you singing with me? About a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright, yeah. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Sing, don't worry. Singing, don't worry. No, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright, yeah. 'Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. One more time. 'Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Nice. All right. Looks like, perhaps you're getting a view of all the behind the scenes. Look, there's Joe Acevedo and all our friends. This is our experimenting. That's amazing. Actually, isn't it lovely to see everybody? This is a good time to see if you are streaming live through Facebook right now and you're seeing us. Say hello to some of those friends that are out there. I know it's a wonderful way for us to connect each week, and so by putting a hello out to some of those folks from our spiritual community that you're seeing, both near and far, it's a great way to stay connected. All right, we're going to sing this song, My Soul is Welcome Here, and it's a song we sing every Sunday, and we're going to sing this, and hope you'll join me. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place Thanks for joining us here this morning. It looks like we've got Kalish Leviel joining us as the practitioner of the day.
Thank you. It's so good to be here. Please take a moment. Notice that you're with us. We're with you. We're in this together. And there's only one infinite divine presence, infinite intelligence that operates in, around, and through each and every one of us. Right here, right now. Allowing us to be totally present. Allowing us to feel the joy of the day and the gratitude that we experience for such a rich life. We thank you, sweet spirit. And so it is.
All of me designed to perfection. All of me beautiful and sacred. All of me a wonder, expression of the infinite. All of me pure light divine. All of me designed to perfection. All of me beautiful and sacred. All of me a wonder, expression of the infinite. All of me pure light divine. All is love, all is light. All is love, all is light. All is love, all is light. All of me, pure light divine. All of me designed to perfection. All of me designed to perfection. All of me beautiful and sacred. All of me beautiful and sacred. All of me a wonder. All of me a wonder, expression of the infinite. All of me pure light divine. All is love and all is light. All is love, all is light. All is love, all is light. All is love, all is light. All of me, pure light divine. I will share, I will share. I will share, I will share. I will share, I will share this love. so sacred, so secret, so precious, this love, so sacred, so secret, so precious, this love. Sing that with me. So sacred, so secret, so precious, this love. I will share, 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 I will share this love. So sacred, so secret, so precious, this love. So sacred, so secret, so precious, this love. So sacred, so secret, so precious, this love.
And hopefully the sound is working. Joe is frantically typing in a text to Philip right now. And it's so perfect because my topic today is lean in. And it has to do with leaning into the discomfort of new situations, challenging situations, inner awarenesses that are uncomfortable. So perfect for me to be talking about this today because boy, have I been uncomfortable with this particular thing. So I hope you're hearing me loud and clear. And I want to start with a story. Would you like to hear it? Yeah? Okay. Well, this is a story about a student of meditation. And this particular student was practicing meditation with various teachers, and she was having great difficulty because her goal, of course, was enlightenment. And so she would practice with one teacher and learn the method and practice the method, but she wasn't having enlightening experiences at all. So then she would switch to another teacher, learn their method, practice that, still no enlightenment. And this went on for years. And so finally, she heard about this master in India, up in the Himalayas. And this master was renowned throughout the world for being very illumined, very enlightened. So she decided to travel to India, sit at the master's feet, and attain enlightenment from him. So off she went. She traveled very far. It was a tremendous trek. But she finally, over many days of travel, reached the Himalayas and found the master. And of course, the master was very popular. So there were many, many, many people who were waiting to talk to the master. So she had to kind of queue up and wait her turn. But eventually, it came to be her turn to sit in front of the master and ask the question she had burning in her breast, which was, how do I attain enlightenment using the methods you are teaching? So she did. She asked that very question, how do I attain enlightenment? That's my goal, using the methods that you're teaching. And the master stood up and said, come with me. And he began to walk. And so she got up and followed the master out of the hall, past all the devotees, down the path, and eventually, after quite a while, they came to a river, and he began to walk right into the river. And she stopped at the bank, and he turned and he said, no, come on. And so she began to carefully pick her way into the river. It was full of different stones, and she was unfamiliar with it. And he waded right out into the middle of that river, and it came up to his chest, and the water is rushing through. And she's kind of hesitant, and she's like, I don't know if I can do this. And he said, no, come on, I'll hold your hand. So he reaches out and he grabs her hand. She comes up to him, and he says, all right, repeat your question. How do I attain enlightenment? And he said, oh, good, stop right there. And he, with all his strength, took his hands, put them on her shoulders, and shoved her under the water and held her there. And she's like flailing, and she's trying to get away from him, and she can't move. And just as her arms start to go limp, he lifts her up, and she's takes a huge breath, and she's sputtering, and she's furious, and she goes, what was that about? What were you doing? You almost drowned me. And he said to her, when you want enlightenment as much as you wanted that air, you will have no problem. And he walked out of the river and back to his ashram. That story is a very powerful story for me, not just about enlightenment, because that's not always our goal, but it is a story about why we sometimes say we want things, but we actually don't get them. And I don't know about you, maybe what you want is peace, or maybe what you want is love, or maybe you want sobriety, or maybe you want happiness or security. Maybe you want money or some other thing of the world. And you've been wanting it for a long time, and you've been saying to your friends and your family that that's what you want. And yet somehow it just doesn't seem to happen, just like that woman. You've done different practices, that didn't seem to work. You've traveled here and there, it didn't seem to work. And the story tells us what it takes for us to receive what it is that we want. And that is, we need to want it in a very particular way. Just like when we're drowning, we want air. And the reason this is relevant here and now in this time is because it's important to remember that for us as sacred humans, 95% of what runs us is our subconscious. 95% of our lives is being run subconsciously, and it's our default. It's our default option. It's like the operating system of a computer that just in the background is running everything. And we're like that. Our subconscious mind runs the programs that we use on a daily basis, and it runs them by default. And you've heard me talk about this, but I really want all of us to hear this in a way that we can actually understand the mechanism and move in a different way. So for most of us, we're running our lives with saved files, if you use the computer analogy. And some of those files are great. Some of them are things that we don't need to think about. They're great to have them in default. We have all kinds of systems in place that allow us to do what we need to do as a sacred human that are perfectly fine. The problem is that there are other programs, other files that were embedded, like cookies are embedded from a website. They were embedded in us at a very early age sometimes, and they are operating without us even knowing that they're there, even knowing that they've created a limited portal for what it is that we want to have as an experience to show up. So maybe it's time to clear some of those cookies. And the way that we do that is we do this thing that is all the buzz that people talk about all the time. You see it in every magazine, social media. It's very, very popular right now, and it's mindfulness. So what's the deal with mindfulness? If you're like me, it's almost annoying how many times a day I see that word. Of course, I travel in certain circles, so maybe you don't see it as often as I do. See, mindfulness is a tool. It's a tool of the other 5% of how we run our lives. It's a tool of the conscious mind. And from the earliest teachings in the Vedas, through the Buddhist and the Taoist traditions, centuries before Christ, in the Judaic tradition, in Christianity, in every tradition of the world spiritually, there are practices that are using the conscious mind and mindfulness, they use different words to describe that, to change the default programming, to actually impact the saved files in such a way that we delete the ones that no longer are effective for us, and we begin to create new programs that are much more accurate to who we've become and who we would like to be. So that's the good news, is that 5% of our lives is available. The conscious mind, which is that 5%, is available. And it's much more powerful in terms of creative process than the subconscious. The subconscious has just taken the information, turned it into a program, and it runs it. It doesn't question it. It doesn't say, are you sure you want to run that today? It's just doing what it does. But the conscious mind has the ability to see itself, to actually look within, notice the programs, see the programs, and this is what mindfulness is all about, and then decide, oh no, I want to erase that program, oh, delete that, take that cookie out of the mix because those things are not working for me. So essentially, the spiritual path is determined when we change by the conscious mind. And so there are tools in place in every tradition, and certainly in the science mind tradition, that allow us to utilize the 5% available to us of the conscious mind to impact the 95% of the subconscious. The thing is that because we have become so accustomed to being run by our programs, when we begin to want to change, the immediate thing that begins to happen is discomfort, uncomfortable with the change. So I'll use myself as an example. So this program we're using now, we've been practicing with for a couple of days, and I was deeply uncomfortable with the whole process. I had already gone through the discomfort of moving from having a wonderful audience in a beautiful, familiar, lovely building to now going to my living room and sitting in a chair and delivering a talk with Facebook Live. Very uncomfortable. And now we're going to change it again. And we're going to do this whole other program. And so I was cranky, I was grumpy, I was scared, I was uncomfortable. And that discomfort led to all kinds of glitches because I was so freaked out that I didn't know what to do. Have you ever been there? So this morning we had to practice again, all of us. And I was still extremely nervous, very uncomfortable. But the thing is, my larger goal is to reach you, is to connect with you, is to offer what I have to offer into the world, to be the voice of this incredible center. And so it was like the woman coming up for air. I had to get over myself and work with the discomfort long enough so that I could get to the point where I'm now being able to talk to you, use the software, and trust the process. So discomfort, the reason I'm telling you that story is it's part of what we have to experience as we move from subconscious programming to consciously decided upon new ways of being. When we know that, we can do something that most sacred humans never do. We can lean in instead of running away or distracting ourselves or becoming so freaked out like I was yesterday that we stop being able to think and the subconscious programs take over. So we lean in. And once we have said, okay, I am going to be comfortable with the uncomfortable here for a moment, then the tools that we've been training ourselves to use over time, the tools you've heard me talk about over and over and over again, become accessible. And so while there's countless tools, I wanted to remind you of 3 today. I don't know, I think 3 is a magic number sometimes. That's just long enough that you have to think about it, but short enough so that you don't lose the whole thread, hopefully. So, of course, with the discomfort, practicing mindfulness, these 3 things will work for you, especially if what it is you want, whether it's peace or love or sobriety or happiness or money or whatever it is, as long as what you want is strong enough in you that you're willing to go the distance with the discomfort, and you're willing to remain conscious and aware as much of the time as possible. So here's the first one: clear intention. Clear intention is the number one stumbling block for most people. They kind of, in a fuzzy sort of way, know. I sort of, in a fuzzy way, kind of knew what I wanted. You and I need to not be fuzzy. Fuzzy doesn't get us anywhere. It gets us right back to the subconscious programming, which tells us that fuzzy thinking is wrong thinking and we should just stop right now. So what does a clear intention look like? Well, long ago, when I was first a student of metaphysics and the science of mind, I read a book called The 30-Day Mental Diet by William Kinnear. And it's a very old book. It's antique language. It was written before I was born. And so it's really old now. But I'll tell you one of the practices that he has in that book, so you don't have to read the whole thing if you don't want. He said, start every morning and end every day with a very clear intention of what you want to see with your life. Spend a moment in prayer, doing a prayer for that intention to be made manifest. So I want to tell you a story about a friend of mine named Cheryl, who was my administrative assistant long ago and far away, now a fast friend. And what she longed for, what she wanted more than anything in the world, was a beautiful relationship, a reciprocal love relationship where she could love and be loved in all the ways that she wanted. And so she made a list, because in metaphysics, we're all about making the list of what we want. At that time and in that place, neither she nor I knew to add to the list, at the bottom of the list, this or something better. So she didn't add that, but she had Kinnear's practice of doing it morning and night. So she began to affirm this relationship using all of the things that she'd made on her list, and she got what she wanted. Except that after about a month, she realized that she got a love relationship that was reciprocal. He was funny, he was adventuresome, blah, 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 blah. But she didn't feel like she wanted to be intimate with him at all. He felt like a brother, not a lover. So she went back to the drawing board, revisited the work she had done, and added to the bottom of the list, this or something better. And she also put on her list, someone that's a lover for me, and vice versa. So for 4 weeks, 30 days, she did this practice again, this time opening her mind and allowing spirit room to bring to her what it was that she had been affirming, morning and night, morning and night, morning and night. And she was sitting in her chair doing that practice one night toward the end of the 30 days. And all of a sudden, someone that she had loved a long, long time ago, who had never, ever stopped loving her, called her out of the blue. And he happened to be passing through town. So she invited him to come and stay. And that was the spark of a relationship that was the most beautiful relationship she had ever had. Clear intention, focused upon twice a day, is the first practice. The second practice is called the sword of discernment. This isn't actually a science mind practice, but it is. It's just that we don't use words like swords. So the sword of discernment is a Buddhist term. And what it means is that for us, we have, you could imagine that there is a sword in your hand, and it's not a weapon so much as a tool to cut away what no longer works and to allow for what will. And so the sword of discernment works like this as a spiritual tool. During the day, many times a day, we take the opportunity to bring ourselves back into a mindful place and watch the flow of our thoughts and our feelings. And we do this repeatedly throughout the day. And yes, we're going to forget to do that, but then we'll remember. And every time we remember, the sword of discernment, you can imagine it in your hand. And you're looking at the thoughts that you've been thinking, recognizing that there's some thoughts there that perhaps are not in alignment with your clear intention. And you literally cut them away. You literally say to yourself, no more. I will not do that anymore. It's beautiful if when you're thinking the thought or feeling the feeling, you can actually stop yourself right in the middle. But even if in retrospect you see it, you're calling in a new pattern by refusing to allow the old pattern much room. And greatly, what begins to happen is greatly more and more and more, you become aware as it's happening, and you stop yourself right in the middle, and sort of discernment comes out, and you cut through and let it go. This is a very powerful tool. It's also a weird tool, because what happens eventually is you'll catch yourself right in the middle of a thought or a feeling, and you might even be saying something out loud. And so the weird part comes in where even if you're talking to someone, you're not going to let that thought run. And so you stop yourself right in the middle of a conversation sometimes. So what I learned to do, because I've had to do this a lot, is if I'm in the middle of a conversation, I catch myself. I say something like, oh, did I say that? That was silly. What an old program. Erase that. I'm gonna tell you what's really true for me now. Because not only are you doing that for yourself, but for whoever you're talking to, that's a very powerful statement. Oh, you're working on yourself. You're no longer letting a program run you. You're trying to shift the program. And if you have really good friends, not only will they support you in that, but they might even take a cue from you, and you might be teaching them something they can use. That's the second, the sword of discernment. So what was the first? Clear intention, spoken to twice a day. The second, the sword of discernment. And the last one for today is called engaging the choice. Engaging the choice. And you know about this one if you've ever tried to lose weight or start running or do an exercise program or stop smoking or stop drinking or any of those things. What you know is that Rome was not built in a day, and that there is a necessity in making a new intention and then moving with it to engage the intention daily. It doesn't mean you're going to get all the way to the goal the first day usually, sometimes, but usually it takes a process of building a new program up. So maybe, let's say you're starting a new weight loss program or a new running program. So you engage that choice on the first day of your intention in some way. Maybe you download an app on your phone and you begin to use it. It's not enough to just download the app. It's a good step, but use it just or start to learn about it. Maybe the second day you use the app and it tells you to go out and do something. So you literally go out and do something. And day by day by day, you begin to build and engage the choice more and more and more and more. I can remember, I think it was Neil Donald Walsh or Wayne Dyer, talking about how if you are in a car and it's the middle of the night and you can't see anything on the road except where the headlights shine, you could travel all the way from the West Coast to the East Coast in the dark, theoretically, without ever needing to know anything other than this is where we're going. Engaging the choice is a little bit like that. It's turning your headlights on to the choice you're making, to the clear intention that you've set, and moving with that daily, making a choice after a choice after a choice. That actually is how Rome was built. That actually is how we learn to go from being someone who is sedentary to running. That actually is how we begin to change the programs that have kept us locked into dysfunctional relationships, that have kept us doing things we don't want to be doing, that have kept us from experiencing an unlimited, expanded life. So, the first one, a clear intention spoken to twice a day. The second one, the sword of discernment, cutting away, stopping the way it was, the program that wants to run, and starting right where that intention is to affirm a new one. And lastly, engaging the intention in some way every single day. These practices, not only do they build mindfulness so that more and more the conscious mind is awake to what's happening in our daily life, but they also carry us through discomfort. When we make a commitment to them, we can lean into discomfort. which is going to happen when we change a program, and it'll move us in the direction of our goals and our dreams in ways we can't even imagine. I, for one, don't want to be like that woman going from thing to thing to thing and never achieving what it was that I hoped for. And so if you're like me, it's time to practice in a deep way during this time that is so extraordinary, so unusual, and such an opportunity for practice. So I'm going to do a prayer for my intention, but I'll speak it in such a way that if you would like to say this prayer for yourself or accept it, you can. And then we'll go to Amber. Oh, I'm going to do some announcements first. So here's the prayer. I recognize and know that within all things, within me, within you, there is a loving intelligence at work. It always and ever has said yes. And now, in this moment of choosing once again a clear intention to move forward, to be vigilant and bold and claim what it is that I truly desire, this loving intention, as it always has, says yes and continues to say yes as I move forward on the path of my choice. I accept for myself the strength to lean into the discomfort that comes from newness and change. And I commit myself to this intention, moving every day, engaging the choice of that intention in my life. I practice diligently, mindfully looking deeply at any place in me that would deny this intention. And instead, I choose to affirm it, to know it clearly, and to mentally rehearse it in every day so that it becomes an idea in mind and then a reality in form. Supported by this loving intelligence, knowing that the yes is mine to claim, saying yes to myself as well, I am deeply, deeply grateful for this intention now made manifest in my life. It is beautiful, it is powerful, it is what I have always dreamed of being, and I am so blessed. And so it is. Okay, announcements. There aren't very many. So for those of you who are signed up for the Women's Retreat in August, we have sent you a survey by email. We hope you'll fill out that survey, and then we will give you the results of that soon. For those of you interested in the Victory Garden, we have discovered that the Bellingham Food Bank is not going to be taking produce this summer. However, we're going ahead with our plans to plant a beautiful Victory Garden, and we will be donating that produce to people who are in need of food, who are having food shortages in their life. So if you'd like to help with that, please contact the office. We'll put you in touch with the Victory Garden crew. And what we'll be needing is not only help with planting, but also largely help with harvesting as time goes on. You may have seen the Marigolds for Memorials announcement in Constant Contact. That is for a ritual we're going to be doing in late September for all who have lost those to COVID or other things during this pandemic time. And we're asking anybody who's a gardener to perhaps consider growing some marigolds for us so that we can have them for a ritual altar. We appreciate that. I'm teaching a new class. It's called the Mental Equivalent. For those of you who are interested in becoming practitioners, it counts as a consciousness class. It's 5 weeks long. It begins Tuesday, June 2nd at 5:30. It's a 2-hour class, maybe 2 hours and 15 minutes sometimes. And if you would like to attend, the tuition is $150, and that'll help the center and me, so thank you ahead of time. And you can either email at info@csl-bellingham.org, or you can call us, and we pick up our messages several times a week, and we'll get you on the roster for the class, and we'll be sending you some information toward the front of the class so that you have what you need. You're going to want to order a book from Amazon called The Mental Equivalent by Emmett Fox. If you have a Kindle, it's free. If you would like to listen to it by audio, it's free. And the book itself is about $3 or $4. So we hope you'll avail yourself of this wonderful Zoom class that will be happening for 5 weeks on Tuesdays in June. Now, some of you joined me for coffee and conversation on Tuesday morning and Thursday morning. And Tuesday went just wonderfully well. And then Thursday, we had technical difficulties. So if you missed that and you were on the Thursday crew, I tried to send you an email explaining what happened. And I will be sending out links for the Tuesday coffee on Monday. And I'll be sending out a link for the Thursday coffee on Wednesday. So you can email me, Andrea Acevedo at att.net, if you didn't get the memo until now. And both of these coffee dates are the same, so sign up just for one, and we'll get you in on the Zoom call. You need to have the latest version of Zoom 5.0 downloaded on your device, okay? Let's see, is there anything else? The practitioners want you to know that they're ready and willing to do any prayer work that you might need. Let's say for a clear intention to manifest itself. Maybe they could help you with that. They often write treatments that you could then read to yourself. So that's all happening. I'm sure there's more announcements, but I'm not thinking of them right now. So I am going to thank you so much for all of your donations to the center. They have really helped us deeply. You can make a donation today if you'd like by hitting the donate button on the website or sending us a check in the mail. Thank you for all that you're doing in the world and for us. And right now I'd like to turn it over to Amber to take us on out of here into a beautiful Sunday afternoon. I'll see you next week.
Thanks, Dr. Andrea. Wonderful message today. All right, well, let's sing out into this glorious day. I think sunshine's coming out here in Bellingham. Today and every day I'm gonna dwell upon the good. Today and every day I'm gonna dwell upon the light. Today and every day I'm gonna dwell upon the peace. Today I'm finding gratitude for all that's right. What we dwell upon, we become. What we dwell upon, we become. What we dwell upon, we become. So let's dwell upon the good. Today and every day I'm gonna dwell upon the love. Today and every day I'm gonna dwell upon the grace. Today and every day I'm gonna dwell upon the joy. Today I'm seeing God in each and every face. What we dwell upon, we become. What we dwell upon, we become. What we dwell upon, we become. So let's dwell upon the good. What we dwell upon, we become. What we dwell upon, we become. What we dwell upon, we become. So let's dwell upon the good. Yeah, let's dwell upon the good. Oh, thanks for tuning in today, everybody. We're so glad that you've been here. And like Dr. A said, all your donations are so much appreciated. And we'll see you again on Sunday. Have a wonderful day.